Morning, folks. I thought I'd do some aftermath pictures here. We're going to start here. This really ain't my problem. This is the county's problem. And this is the mild portion of what's gone out of the road. But I just wanted to show you just how bad the roads are. You know, it's taking it down to the clay. You know, you can see where the top layer of the rock in the clay is right here. And by the way, yes, this road used to be asphalt. In 1992, they took the road strippings from the interstate and decided they wanted to pave this road. It lasted about 6 months. And a flood come through and ripped the asphalt off this road. I don't ever remember this road being asphalt, but somebody that lived down here back then told me, yes, in 1992, they actually blacktopped this road with the interstate grindings. But you can see kind of what the water did. This is the far end of the camping area. I'll get down in there in a minute. But I just wanted to show you, this is the county's problem to fix, not mine. But needless to say, there's going to be some heavy equipment down through here, because on down it ate a trench through the road again, like it did a few years ago. It didn't quite get as high as it did a few years ago. We only had about 5 3/4, maybe 6 inches of rain, but 5 1/2 inches of that rain all came down in about 6 hours. So it really popped up quick. A few years ago when it rained, we had over 7 1/2 inches of rain. So, but here's where my problem starts. Remember that nice camp area that was around the corner where my brother's camper was sitting at? Yeah, they got about 4 inches of water up into the camper because it came up so fast we couldn't get to it. Could have got to it. The problem was we couldn't have got it out of here because the water was coming up so fast that by the time we would have got in, got hooked up to it, it would have come up and got us stuck in here. So it came up pretty quick. It rising about 6 inches about every 10 or 15 minutes. So by the time he would have got out here with his truck, got hooked to it, turned around, he'd have been stuck in here himself. But we got to start over on this and redo all this. You know, there's 60 hours worth of work and a few $100, almost into the thousands of dollars of gravel we had in here that we got to do all over now. I mean, the water was so strong it rolled some of the riprap. This whole side over here was riprap, and all right down along through here with the poles, and had riprap, and it took that up. Hey, at least it didn't steal my postal driver. This is where Tim Beck was coming down and coming in and out. That's one of them I can remember that was coming down here. We'll take the path up to the main part of the campground here. This was all underwater. You know, there's road level, so I'm 3 feet down below road level now, and it was all underwater. The road was underwater too. So it came up, I'd say it was 6 or 7 foot deep in camp. We'll find out when we get down to my flagpole, see if it's got a water line on it. This is the path that goes between the two campsites. That way you don't have to walk out on the road. This is going to be a nightmare to clean up because those roots were all underground. Now I'm going to have to do something so it doesn't create a trip hazard, somebody fall and get hurt. Really didn't do me any favors making this path safe. Still a little wet. Probably should have put my rubber boots on, or at least tied these boots so they don't come off my feet. There's the sandbar across from camp. And boy, did it do a number on that. I think John and Bonnie were digging up around them trees now. And you can see a trench. It took a lot of that sandbar away. It's gone. And granted, this is day 2 after it's gone down. It's still going to go down more, but if you look how much that sandbar is relocated somewhere else. So we'll head up here. Yeah, at this point here, I'm probably 10, 12 feet below the road line. And this is the highest point of the road, though. It didn't get up there like it did several years ago. But you can still see, you can see the mud line now. And I'm 6'3", and the mud line's over my head. So, see if I can get around this water still standing in here. This will probably be a little bit of a long video because I want to show you everything in camp. Show you the aftermath after the water's gone down and back in its banks. But here's right up at the road. You can see where the water was up in here. It made it as high up on the road as, oh, probably a good 4-foot grade. You can see where the water coming off the hill dug a trench through the road. Looks like the county donated some rock to my driveway. They're gonna have to donate a whole lot more than that, and they probably have, because where the road washed off and into the ditch up on downstream, they won't recover most of that rock because it's got sand and debris and everything in it. They won't want to put on the roads. If it shows anything according to the last time they did it, they usually leave all that gravel behind because they don't want to put it back on the roadway. It didn't steal my rock this time that we put in from the high bankers. There's a whole bunch of road rock there. I may get in that ditch, run a suction nozzle and blow all that gravel up back up here on the road, on my camp road. This is where Linda was camping for the Walsall outing. This was up over these poles right here. You couldn't even see those poles. So, starting to be able to see the sandbar down there a little bit where everybody was running the high bankers and working at. So, let's go over and see if we can see a water line here in camp, give us an idea how deep it got here in camp. Lake McIntyre still got water holding in it. Let's see. I don't see a mud. There we go. There's a debris line right there in that tree. I don't know if you can see it or not, or if I'm in too much sun. So I'm standing here on flat ground, and that's up about shoulder high on me. So about 5 foot, 5.5 foot. I don't see a water line on the flagpole. But the debris in that tree right there says it's shoulder deep on me. How's that? And you know I stand 6'3". So that's how deep it was on the south end of camp anyway. And we know it was already halfway up the trailer on my box trailer on the other end. So, you know, oh, this is a slick, muddy mess. That's why I can't have anybody in here this weekend. I want to apologize and give a shout out to Rustic Outdoors. I know he tried to plan a trip down here during the Walsall outing, and it was a private outing for their club and did get to come down. So then he was going to come down this weekend, and now this happens to him. Buddy, I'm going to get you in here. We'll figure out a way and a date to get you here. But I know Rustic Outdoors was planning on coming this weekend. There was actually several people planning on coming this weekend. And you can see why. We're got it closed up. Not letting anybody in here right now, except for to do some cleanup. The creek's not really down enough to do anything on yet. It'll go down pretty quick. You all know how quick that goes down. Wearing me out just walking through this mud. We'll go through. The rest of camp looks pretty good. The normal flood duff, you know, that I'll have to clean up, stuff like that. No big deal. Get the four-wheeler and a cart and a pitchfork out, load it up and haul it to a burn pile. Okay, here's where John and Bonnie and Tom and everybody was camped at. See if I can get in here and show you. You can see the duff in here, and it's about almost chest deep on me here. So, you know, that's where you guys were camped at there. So here on what's about the median side of camp, yeah, there's a good spot there. Let's see if we can get it. I don't know if we're getting that or not. But about mid chest deep. Right here where Adventure Outdoors was camped at. There's where Midwest Gold Fever was camped at. About knee deep up there, and he was up on a ridge a little bit. The lower level of camp, you can see the ditchway here. If I don't fall and bust my ass on this slick ass mud. There's where the ditch is. The shower house is okay. Other than the fact I got to get it up and working. But it took out the recycle bins. Lost them. There's probably half the reason why the culvert got ripped up the way it did. It looks like something got down in it and blocked it. That's why the water wasn't flowing through so good. So it was flowing up and over and took off everything. So I'm gonna have to bring a couple ton of riprap in here and rebuild that. The portalet, though still intact, will be unusable. As you can see, it peeled it up off the frame. This one here I needed to get fixed, get the frame repaired anyway. But that one there will be closed for a while until I can get it fixed. I did find out that I can buy a couple new portalets and have them brought in for $100 a piece. So we're looking to pick up 2 or 3 more portalets, get them brought in here. I'll probably do a fundraising auction, try to raise money to help get the portalets in here, because with that one down, it means I only have one and it's on the far end of camp. So we'll try to do an auction later on and bring in some funds to at least get one in here, if not 2 of them in here. My intention is to try to buy 3 of them and scatter them out through camp, but that one there is not going to be usable until I get it fixed. Water was clear up in the shelter area. Doesn't look like it broke anything, it just relocated it all. The funny thing is that about 3 o'clock in the morning, I grabbed my pumps up away from the edge of the creek because I knew the water was going to come up, and I thought putting them on top of the picnic tables would have been safe. I was wrong. So now the pumps have to go to the shop because I don't have time to mess with it. Yes, I could rebuild it myself and clean it out and get it operational. I just don't have time with cleaning everything else up. And believe it or not, I'd like to get in the water sooner or later. So yeah, putting the pumps up on the picnic table was not high enough to save them from being in the water, and I thought it would be. You know, I kind of locked the high bankers into the seats so they wouldn't get washed away, and put the pumps up on the table thinking that would be high enough. You know, when you got a picnic table that sits up 2 foot, 2.5 foot above the ground, you figure that would have been safe enough and everything. This rain we weren't supposed to get. They called for a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and we were the only ones that got it. It missed Shelby County. It missed Bartholomew County. It caught Decatur County and southwestern Ripley County. That was it. All these storms were supposed to stay south of Seymour, but this one popped up out of the middle of nowhere. It's those pop-up ones that get you, ain't it, Brewer? Brewer will tell you how storms come in and ain't supposed to be there, and water comes up pretty quick. Those guys at Freedom Fest found that out. Well, guess what? This one came up quicker and higher than that one. Got a lot more rain. We ended up with, it was over 6 inches by the time it was all over with. 5 3/4, almost 6 inches. Depends on where you were at. Doesn't matter where I was at, because everything from the city comes down through here in stormwater runoff. And thanks to the city of Greensburg that does nothing for stormwater reparation and try to control the stormwater coming off all the asphalt and factory roofs, it blows right through the system and comes at me with a vengeance. And with all the construction and everything they've been doing here in the last 5 years, the flooding just keeps getting worse down here. And the farm fields and everything else, sooner or later, the farmers down here are going to learn to pay attention to what Greensburg's doing in the city and start raising hell about it. Because what they don't think affects them, oh, that's in the city limits, it don't affect me. Well, better look at your crops right now. Anyway, this is down by the cleanup shed. So you're talking still, again, mid-belly, mid-waist on me. And that's on the high side of camp. Matter of fact, Robert up on the north end, if you guys remember the camper that was on the north end down there, he even had to pull out. It got bad enough up there that he had to pull his RV and his equipment out too. The gym area, flatter than a pancake. I'll get some more gravel to bring in here, put back down here, get the gold recovery area redone. Luckily, the big gym table, I got to say something for Redneck Construction, because that's 50 feet, 75 feet away from where I had it at. Dad taught me good, because the gym table was down here, still intact, still usable, nothing broke, nothing bent. And when Dad taught me to read a tape measure, he taught me good, because that tub is in there tight enough that it didn't even come out. So hey, I always hear people complain because when they tell me a measurement to cut something at, I cut it. And by God, you better be right about where you want me to cut it at, because that's where it's cut at. Dad taught me to read a tape measure and how to cut a piece of wood, because that tub is in there so tight that even with the flood floating at 50, 75 feet down the freaking creek from clear up there, everything's still intact and not broken. All I gotta do is get that pulled out. I got the four-wheeler down here today. I'm gonna take a strap and put to it and pull it up off the edge of the creek, and at least get it around here where 7 men and a horse can move it to where it belongs. But yeah, you can see this is on the north end of camp down here where Rex and everybody was camping at, and Kurt from Walsall chapter was camping at. And you can see the mud line here, probably about 2 foot deep. Oh, he's gonna have fun when he gets to the other end of the road with that truck. Better slow down or he'll be putting a new suspension underneath of it. I had a semi come through last night going to the hog barns, and apparently somebody didn't tell him about the flood. And you just thought the world was coming to an end with him rattly sides and loading decks and everything for them hogs. He hit that road down there and sounded like a 4-story building coming down. Scared the crap out of me, and then I got to laughing because the county moved around. Yeah, he just hit that hard. Oops. Guess the county should have shut that road down when I told them to. Anyway, I told them the road wasn't there, but they decided they can drive through it, so more power to them. They wanted to leave it open. And there's going to be some people pissed off that the county don't have road closed signs up. And that's all right. And be pissed off at anybody but me. I called them. But anyway, and told them the road wasn't there. So, but anyway, yeah, that semi, I thought he was going to get hung up in all the loose gravel because, you know, it's just flood-laid gravel. It's not packed or anything. And it's about 1.5 feet, 2 foot deep. I thought he might get through there where the road doesn't exist. But boy, when he hits that soft gravel, is he going to bog down. It wasn't long you heard the old diesel whine, because when the front tires hit it and went to sinking, he just poured the coal to it and rolled right on through it. Luckily, he was empty. I don't think he'd have got it across it if he was loaded. But yeah, you can see out across there the mud line. You know, I'd say 85% of that field was all underwater. Mud line up there, back across the woods there. I'm not going to walk all the way back there and make this video too long, but let me see if I can get you there. You can see the mud line right along those trees, and I know those weeds are shoulder deep on me. You know, it's going to make it real interesting trying to get back there to pick raspberries too, because the raspberries were looking pretty good. But yeah, I'm not going to try to walk out across that. Anyhow, and the road up on the north end, it's pretty rough. It's still there, but it's got channels and everything cut through it from where the water was flowing out of the creek there. 21 minutes. This is already too long of a video. You can see all the crop duff where it was flowing out of the bean field out here along the road. So it was interesting, and I got a lot of cleaning up to do. I took my day of retrospect yesterday and just sit in the air conditioner up top and kicked and cussed and threw some more shit and wondered why I was going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I started cleaning this place up in 2008 when it was a mess. I've seen it a whole lot worse than it is now. Mother Nature is not going to win. She is not going to defeat me. I will take the time, and with the help of a few others that's offered to come down this weekend and stuff, I will get it cleaned up. I will get it back operational. We will be back in here, and to hell with it. You know, I want to be able to say I've had this camp operating for 20 years, and right now I'm on the start of year 19. I am not going to give it up. And I'm just bullheaded enough to say the county didn't run me out of here, the natives didn't run me out of here, the weather sure as hell ain't going to run me out of here. As long as the landowners let me stay here and let me run this camp and people keep coming down to enjoy it, then it'll be here. So, anyway, yeah, yesterday I put up a video of the death trap whirlpool of that culvert. Well, here's the culvert, and you can see how big of a culvert it is. I think that's a 36-inch culvert. You know, those things are killers. I mean, I don't live in town, but I see things on town all the time. Kids getting sucked through the culvert under a driveway or whatever. You guys don't understand that power, that suction that has, trying to move massive amounts of water through small areas. You know, yeah, it's fun for the little kid to go out and play in the ditch and stand waist deep in the ditch, but when that has current to it and they lose their footing. So, but anyway, yeah, this is back down on the south end of camp. That's all the debris coming out of the fields back in across as the water was going down. So, all right, I'm going to get off here. This is already too long of a video anyway. And I'm going to get to work cleaning this up. Can't do much until Lake McIntyre goes down on this end, but hey, we are going to get it cleaned up. My goal is to have it open back up by Father's Day weekend, because Brown County Rock and Mineral Club has an outing down here, and that weekend, and holy cow, I recognize that driftwood stump. That is a Osage stump that used to be clear up there, because I was going to pull that Osage stump out. I actually got somebody that wants that driftwood stump to put in their flower bed, and holy cow, that's a quarter mile away. I can tell because I can see where I cut it off with a chainsaw to use it for firewood. But anyway, all right, I'm going to quit rambling, get off here. We'll catch y'all later.